Let's kick it!
Tyra S. Gardner of Animal Schools LLC, and I'll be kicking it with Doree this evening.
Welcome to the Kicking It with Doree show. I'm your host, Doree Nieves, and today my guest is Tyra S. Gardner. Tyra S. Gardner is the CEO of Tyra S. Gardner Consulting and At a Moment's Notice, LLC. Tyra is a nationally certified anger management specialist, speaker, and psychotherapist, specializing in individual and family therapy, relationships, phobias, anxiety, shopping addiction, stress management, cyberpsychology, and business therapy. Tyra is also a contributor to a number of media outlets, including TMZ, Daily Mail, AskMen.com, Today, Slay, and Women's Health Magazine. Welcome to the show, Tyra.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Even though it's a topic that most people feel like is maybe, a little bit beneath them or a topic that really doesn't apply to them, it's really easy to see negative attributes in other people and kind of sometimes be in denial or kind of pass over it in ourselves. But I'm going to be the first one to admit that sometimes I will admit I do have anger management issues, okay? Like, I don't want to, go into the whole stereotype of being the angry black woman or anything like that, because I have been a lot worse. But in particular, when I think of anger for myself personally, Tyra, I think about traffic. I think about, oh my gosh, like it just drives me crazy. That's really when I cuss and fuss the most, is when I'm in the car. So I'm going to be willing to admit that I have anger problems, at least in that area.
You know what? Believe it or not, a lot of people do when it comes to traffic and some of everyday situations they have. It's all in how we handle it, and I know sometimes people drive a little reckless or might cut us off, but we got to do the best we can to try to keep our composure, because the last thing we want to do is end up in a situation where the law is involved.
Right. Yeah, I do think that it's really sad when road rage ends in violence. I've never, thank God, been that crazy to get into it that far. But just the fact of just how I feel inside, I know we're going to talk about anger in business and personal situations, but just thinking about when I'm angry, it just makes me hot inside. Sometimes it makes me sweat. Probably makes my blood pressure go up. I haven't checked it lately. And, there's all different kinds of reasons why we should strive to reduce our stress and eliminate anger as much as possible. I'm just thinking about, your mental health and your physical health, but I might be just jumping ahead of the game in that one. So Tyra, talk to us about how you got to work with people on this subject and what are the most common things that you see, whether it's in the workplace or amongst families, when it comes to this issue of anger management.
Well, I've been in the business. I've been a therapist for about over 20 years now, and I've seen anger amongst people all the time. Sometimes it's masked as something else. Anger can be masked as depression. It comes in the form of anxiety, and people tend to become angry because of things. And sometimes anger happens because we don't know why we're angry, but it's just something that might be going on internal. As you were saying, our physical health is connected to our mental health, and a lot of people out here do not realize, the connection between the two, that one can trigger the other. In regards to your physical health, if that's being impaired. When we're out here work out with people with anger issues, it can be tough sometimes, because sometimes people, they tend to not realize that they're as angry as they are. And I know I talk to people, daily, and some things that aren't supposed to make us angry do make us angry. And sometimes people don't really think it is anger. They'll mask it as sarcasm. Sarcastic statements and things like that, when they truly are saying what they really feel. It's just that they didn't want to put it out there like that.
Yeah. Or like when somebody texts you and then they put an emoji next to it to try to soften it, but really they meant that like there was truth in that.
Exactly. That's exactly what people do, because the thing is they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Everybody is concerned about, others' perception of them. And if they add a smiley face emoji, or if they do a LOL, or even if they're in front of your face and they say it and like put a smirk, that softens the issue opposed to, not realizing that it's really heightening it.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the reasons why you see, like the real, true underlying reasons why we are so angry today? Like there's always been anger since the Bible times, right? But it just seems like in our society, there's so much outright hate and anger and jealousy and venom just spewing from people all over. Like, is it because, we're more global? Is it because of social media? Is it because of stress? Like, what are the underlying reasons you see for that increased, amounts of anger being displayed in our society?
Right now, I think the increased amount of anger is displayed because of, number one, politics, and the things that's happening on that. And a lot of people are seeing a lot of unfair and unjust things happening. So I think that's heightening the anger in everyone these days. Another reason is because of, various situations that people are having in regards to financial. We see financial situations always being a problem, with people. If there's not enough income coming in, people, tend to become very angry, for that reason. When we have situations with our children, such as bullying, but believe it or not, bullying is not just with children. It happens with adults at work. It happens everywhere, where people try to take control. Control is like one of the number one reasons why people are so angry, because everybody wants to control something. And when people lose control of any type of situation that might be happening, whether it's personal, whether it's business, any retrospect of their life, then that's when situations tend to become explosive. Mm-hmm. And that becomes a major problem in society today. So when you look at anger in society, the number one issue is control. Social media can influence a lot of anger issues in people as well, because people have a different identity when they're on social media versus what you see, face to face, which is a whole nother topic, but that also sparks anger, anger, depression, anxiety, everything, because people are living their lives through that. Then you got reality television that also sparks a lot of anger, because people, tend to watch these reality shows and think that they're supposed to fight and act the same way that they see their favorite celebrities or favorite reality stars respond on TV, which also can, start up anger. With some of the children, some of the cartoons they watch is pretty violent, which, also can cause anger. So there's a number of things out there. It's just, being mindful of what we put out, so that others don't follow.
Mm-hmm. I really feel what you're saying about the control issue, whether it be at home or at work or wherever. I feel like sometimes people feel like they don't have control. They feel helpless. They feel hopeless. And so it's not always a power struggle, like I have to overpower you type deal. It's sometimes you feel like, your voice isn't being heard, or, you're working really hard and you just don't seem to have anything to show for it. There's a lot of, people that feel like they're in kind of hopeless situations right now. So I get it, I've got, as I've mentioned many times on this podcast, I have a very ill husband. He is terminally ill and he's in his early 40s. And so he has a lot of anger in his heart right now. He doesn't hang around and he has an angry attitude all the time. It comes and goes. But I mean, your health, sometimes when things happen, you feel out of control with certain situations. And so obviously you can control certain things about your health to a point, and then some things are out of our control. So there's just so many things that I really agree with you on all of those different ways that people can feel like there's nothing else for me to do but just lash out. Like there's nothing else for me to do. I have to get out this feeling that I have, like I feel like everything is caving in on me. And so that's why, again, I'm glad you're here to give us some more constructive ways to deal with these situations.
Yeah, when you deal with someone who has a terminal illness, with that, it's like sometimes we have to keep in mind, put ourselves in their shoes, for a moment and think about, how we would actually feel, knowing that it's like they've been put in a position that they can't control. Mm-hmm. It's not just a control thing, but then, when you look at the age factor, also, because it's like at that point, there's a whole mental thing that's going on, because everything at this point is surfacing in their mind. They're thinking about things that they don't want to think about at the age that they are. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like that's something also that has to be, put into perspective when you're dealing with someone with a terminal illness, especially when you're at a young age.
Mm-hmm. People are still talking about the Me Too movement. They're talking about sexual harassment in the workplace and in professional or supposed to be professional situations. And there's other types of things happening at work that just make people angry. As you mentioned, maybe not getting paid what you think you're worth, or maybe another year goes by and there's no bonuses, but they're asking you to work more, work harder. There's less resources. People are being laid off. And so you've got to do extra work. All different kinds of situations where people are feeling kind of, undervalued, underappreciated, and underpaid or abused. So let's talk a little bit about that, and then we can talk about ways that people can address the negative environment that they might be in the workplace.
Yeah, when it comes to the workplace, it's, anger always exists, with one person or another due to the amount of workload they may be carrying, whether they're doing someone else's responsibilities and everybody not pulling their weight. Or, because of the lack of money, or it could be for underlying workplace bullying, because that's an area that's never really addressed as much, because people don't really look at workplace bullying as something that exists, but it does, and it does happen in the workplace an awful lot. That, that's areas that do cause anger at the workplace, so it's just like when you're at work, you have to still remember that you have to still maintain a certain professionalism while there, because the last thing you want to do is be put in a position where you're terminated for saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing, to someone, and I know at times it does get hard, to not exhibit, threatening behaviors towards, your superiors or towards your peers, because people in the workplace will try you. The best thing you got to do the best you can to maintain the core, because you don't want to, end up in court, 3 to 5 years for assaulting someone at your workplace because of something they may have said or did to you. So that's something to keep in mind with the workplace.
Yeah. What can people do if they feel like something's going on that's inappropriate, I don't want to be retaliated against, or I'm feeling threatened, or I'm feeling overwhelmed and I just can't seem to get my head above water with the projects and tasks and responsibilities that are being placed upon me?
I would recommend for someone to, if they have an HR department that they can talk to, I would recommend going to the HR Human Resources Department and speaking to one of the human resource representatives about what is happening in their department. If that is something that doesn't work, and they are feeling highly stressed, majority of human resources departments and various businesses do have connections to a company called LifeWorks. And what LifeWorks, they offer therapy sessions and things of that nature, to help people with overcoming issues that may be happening in the workplace. And they're pretty much confidential sessions and everything, and they try to help you, before situations get to that blow up level where it's totally out of control. I also recommend, if you're able to get a therapist, go see a therapist about what's going on. If you want to do one privately, another alternative is contacting the EEOC, your local EEOC, Equal Opportunity Council, and what they will do is they will look into the issue for you, and see what exactly is happening at your workplace. If you feel that, things is just too unbearable, and if they find that everything is, basically legitimate, they'll, help you with taking matters into a whole other direction.
Yeah, that's good. And I believe that LifeWorks and other companies like it. Like I have worked for a company that they use Magellan, but they are all very similar, and they will give you, at least a few sessions that are, free, and help you find, a therapist or counselor in your area where you could continue the conversation. Because with things going on, I mean, there was just as we are recording this, a few days ago, there was a school shooting, another school shooting. It's like, when are we going to wake up? When is this going to stop? And so when things like this happen, in our world, that's usually when they'll pop up and remind us, hey, employees, you have this free service available to you, and, it's completely confidential. They're not going to tell your manager that you were, talking to a counselor, which I want to also throw this in, by the way. Tyra, I know you know this because you are a behavioral health professional, but I just want to emphasize, as I have many times before, that there is no shame in seeing a therapist, seeing a counselor, going to a psychotherapist, a psychiatrist. There's no shame in any of those things. I think that, when you ask for help, that is a sign of strength. I have had to ask for help many times, even before, when I was a single mom, didn't even know my husband at the time. I still had to always ask for help for different types of situations, because life can get you down, just living every day. And so I just want to say that because, you all know I'm Black, Tyra's Black. A lot of people in the Black community just really still, there's that stigma of, nah, I'm not going to tell anybody about what's going on in my house, or, I'm not going to tell anybody what's going on with me. And, it's actually a sign of strength to be able to say, you know what, I'm feeling weak, I'm feeling down, I need help. Like, that's actually strength. That's not weakness.
Yeah, because to take it to the church mentality, we do pray and everything, but at the same time, we still have to go to therapy to talk it out, because sometimes a lot of our issues that we have, when we hear it out loud and we speaking to someone else, basically put things a little bit more into perspective, and we understand a lot of things a little bit more than what we did prior to. So it's fine, we're taking it to church, but we do need to, as a community, come together, try to utilize all of our services, a little bit more, and therapy is one that definitely is. Mental health is one that's always pushed under the rug.
Yeah. Mental health is very important, and I'm hoping, on the political and public policy forefront, I hope to see that become more of a thing where we're accepting that, people need help, and that we're willing to help them, and we're not, disgracing people and waiting until there is some kind of, crazy event, some kind of mass shooting or something before we start talking about it again. Like, that this should be a regular thing that we know we can lean on each other. And if you don't have someone at work or someone at home, someone close to you, and a relative, a friend to lean on, then what would you suggest for a person like that, Tyra? Because there are people that maybe they don't go to work every day, or they don't really socialize with people at work. Are there other avenues that they can take to try to seek behavioral health, or try to, let their hair down, relax, de-stress?
Yeah, there are other avenues. There are apps now that people can connect to on their phones. Believe it or not, that they can seek therapy, because there's a lot of people that do suffer from, issues where they may not want to come out of their house or come out of their shell, or and they need, talk things through. So there are psychology apps, and therapy apps that they can go to talk about their issues. That app is called simplepractice.com, and that's a place where people can go and, find practitioners, that can help them for what they might be going through. It's a place, simple practices for the therapist, but you to be able to find, what you're looking for there also. Also, there's some offices that offer telemental health therapy. And what telemental health therapy is therapy through the phone, where they can call in and speak to somebody about their current problems. If a person may not feel that they're not that bad off, is tips that they can also use, such as, using meditation as a form of peace to keep themselves calm, also concentrating and doing deep breathing, and learning how to release the negative energy that's going on within them, that might be causing, because sometimes people will call us or be in our presence and they have such negative energy, their energy rubs off on us. And so being able to let go and not internalize so much what's going on with that person, and removing ourselves from the situation, and so following a few tips that can help, with making life a little bit easier, even if it's drinking a nice cup of calming tea, peppermint or chamomile, two of those help also with keeping people calm, anger free, and things of that nature.
Yeah, I really do advocate having some kind of self-care routines. Hopefully they're not just at the end of the day. It could be first thing when you wake up. It could be in the middle of the day, but just something that you can look forward to. Like she said, it could be a cup of tea and you curl up in your comfy slippers or something and, you kick back with a TV program that makes you laugh, something that's enjoyable, or a movie with, one of your favorite actors. Something that you can do that's just for you. As women, we're always having so much responsibility that we take on, and that we can manage things pretty well. We can multitask to a certain extent, but if you just burn the candle at both ends long enough, you're going to get stressful. You're going to lash out at somebody that maybe doesn't even deserve it. So I think it's wise to build routines, whether it's, involves meditation, yoga, stretching, coffee, tea, ice cream, whatever the routine is, as long as it's not something that's self-destructive, I'm all for it.
Yeah, definitely. So the name of some apps that I have, Talkspace.com is one that's really common. I think a lot of people may have seen commercials advertised for them.
I think I have seen that commercial. Uh-huh.
That's a online therapy app. So you can go through your app store, or you can also use your computer. Also, a company called BetterHelp.com. They also offer online counseling. Talkspace is one that I have recommended for a number of people who prefer to just, because of their schedules, they had to, was on the go, and they really wanted to, try something different opposed to traditional therapy. So Talkspace.com is one that I, recommend for those who, want treatment but are still on the fence.
Yeah. And that's really cool. That's a good option for people that are introverted, or people that, maybe they are somewhat threatened or uneasy or apprehensive about sitting face to face with somebody. So yeah, that's good.
The thing is, mental health having the stigma, you have to be able to reach all markets, and a lot of people don't feel uneasy, with sitting traditionally, because they really don't want to display those emotions, to a stranger, because until you establish that rapport, you're still a stranger to that individual. And sometimes people have a lot of trust issues.
So this is good. I'm glad that we're reiterating this about, not having stigma with therapy. And you have several more tips to give our listeners. So I want you to go ahead. You've got this list of 13 anger taming tips that we need to get on board with. And so, I'm going to put this in the show notes too. But Tyra, go for it.
Okay. Well, my first tip is number one, think before you respond. Being able to have self-control is best, when in any situation. Because sometimes when we're angry, we tend to respond before we think, and before we know it, we're going into an argument mode. And so rather than let things escalate, any situation escalate, try to think before respond. The second is to remain calm. Granted, when we get upset and angry, we do start to sometimes project our voice to a higher level, which will start making the other person become defensive. Mm-hmm. So rather than becoming defensive, try to maintain a level of calmness, as calm as you can, without going to, not without becoming too aggressive. Because once you start displaying signs of aggression, that's when situations escalate. Sometimes we go, it becomes physical. Sometimes it just remains at a verbal state. But in the end, nobody is winning. So just remain calm until you're able to, get things under control. Number three, take a deep breath. Sometimes, people say, "Oh, counting to 10 don't work for me." Well, counting to 10 don't work for most people. Being honest, but if you take a deep breath, and try to release your mind a little bit of the situation that's going on, maybe you can allow yourself to start thinking a little bit clear while you're in the situation, the issue that may be happening. Number four, never respond when angry. When you're angry, you need to remove yourself from the situation and just ask the other party if you can take a few minutes to cool off before responding. And sometimes when we respond when we're angry, people get response. Either they get the truth or they get something that they really don't want. We tend to hurt people's feelings, and when we're angry, when we have an angry outburst or an anger moment, that was, preceded by an argument, we tend to say things to hurt people's feelings because we want them to feel just as much pain as we're feeling. And so because of that, we respond in a negative manner, because we want everybody to feel that way. And it's not fair to the other person, just like, the whole situation is not fair to you, because people tend to remember the words that we say, and it always comes back to haunt you in the end, So with that, never respond when angry. Number five, identify possible solutions. Try to come up with a solution for what's going on instead of, just continuing arguing and leaving the situation without a solution. We have to come to a common ground at some point with our situation. So identifying possible solutions is best. Number six, exercise. Some people might ask, why exercise? Because believe it or not, exercise allows you to burn all of the aggression, all of the anger, everything that's going on. Exercise allows you to free your mind. People tend to exercise, when they're angry. You find when you're angry and you're exercising, you tend to burn more calories. Also, it clears your mind and allows you to think better.
Yeah.
Situation that was happening, at that point you're determining, was it really worth it? Was it worth everything that I was going through? Was this whole fight or whatever the situation was, is it worth it? Number seven, take time out. Remove yourself from the situation. Removing yourself from the situation is always best, because sometimes things can escalate and we can end up in a situation we really don't want to be in. Whether the situation gets physical, or if you're at work, you get terminated. Nobody wants that, because neither one is a win-win situation. Number eight, don't hold a grudge. Let it go. Sometimes people hold grudges, that that's just what it is. Some people hold a grudge for 20 years, and you like, why are you holding a grudge? Like, can you let it go already? And because of that, nobody wins with that, and it's just like at this point you're harboring these feelings instead of just moving on. Because 9 times out of 10, when it's a grudge that's hold, sometimes people don't even remember or even know why they even mad at the person.
And definitely the other person don't know you mad at them, so you're only hurting yourself.
You got that right. And so with that being said, just learn to let it go. Number 9, humor. Humor and laughter relaxes the body and releases your tension. Believe it or not, it's easier to laugh than it is to frown and to keep yourself sad and upset. So try to find humor in the situation. Sometimes when we do have issues that happen, whether it's at work or at home, when we really think about the situation at hand, it does make us laugh. And it's just like, I can't believe I was this upset over, X, Y, and Z. Like, I could have found something else to be worried about instead of worried about that, So try to find a little bit of humor in the situation, because it does relax the body and release the tension. Number 10, practice relaxation skills. Some people, like to put their head down. Some people like to close their eyes and do a form of meditation. As long as you're practicing whatever makes you calm, because what works for one person is not going to work for the other person. Some people like to read to relax, and some people like to listen to music. It's all in what you find is best as a coping skill for you. Number 11, know when to seek help. A lot of people, they'll let it go and they won't seek help. You know what I mean? You have to know when to go seek help. If things is totally out of control and out of your hands, you definitely must seek help. Whether it's going to your local crisis center, if you go to the church, talk to your pastor or someone there and ask them for help. A close friend, you go to any local hospital or any police station or fire department and ask them, and they will direct you to the local emergency rooms if you should need help that's far beyond a waiting game where you would wait to see a therapist, control. Number 12, stick with I statements. When you're in any type of altercation, stick with I statements and don't put the blame on others. Because sometimes when we're angry, we tend to blame other people. Like even when we're in a situation where it's like a little road rage, we get angry with driving. We could be the ones that's really driving the mess, and we blaming everybody else around us. Always good, but it happens. And number 13, stay in your lane. Know when to address issues that's not related to you. When we're at work, sometimes people can get you all hyped up and get you on your bandwagon, when they're trying to prove a point, and they want to get their point across or something or another with management, and people yeah, they'll start agreeing with their coworkers, and all of a sudden everybody's in trouble.
Yeah.
Person that's caused up a ruckus for nothing that wasn't even related to you. So know when to stay in your lane. Know when to address issues that's related to you. Stay away from things that's not addressing you.
Yeah, instigating stuff.
You got that right. There's a lot of instigating. That goes with personal life as well, because we see the same thing when you see with children. Children always get into altercations, whether at home or at school, because they was minding somebody else. If you focus on yourself, you don't have to worry about it. Worry about what's going on with other people. And that's my 13 entertaining tips.
Oh, that is a great start. I mean, if you even get to do 2 or 3 of those like this week, you guys, then you are on the right track, but you have to do these things repeatedly. When we are changing our behavior, we're making modifications to something that we've been doing for years. You can't just do it one time and get it. You have to practice, these things and think about, okay, well, the next time I'm in the car and somebody cuts me off, what am I going to do? You can't wait until the actual event happens. I feel like, sometimes we have to like put some forethought into this. And another thing that I like to tell people is something that I do personally. I just really love this is journaling. You don't have to use a pen and paper. You don't have to get a fancy book, from the bookstore, from Amazon or something. But just writing down things, whether it's writing a letter to the person you're mad at or releasing what it is that happened during the day, I think it is such a great thing to let it out. It's almost as good as the exercise that you were mentioning in a previous tip, Tyra, because it allows you to release things and it's private. It's not like, you're going to take this letter and mail it to anybody. You're not going to take this journal entry and publish it online, I hope. You need to just keep it to yourself or throw it away afterwards. It's just another way to release that negative energy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Journaling is always number one on my book. Even if you are angry with someone, you can write them a letter, and after you finish writing and getting all of those feelings out, you can take the letter and rip it up. Like that's the no. You don't have to mail it to them, like you said. You just want to get those emotions out.
Yeah.
Writing a letter, ripping it up is always something that I highly recommend.
And I think that's a great technique, whether the person is still living or not, because it's a way for you to release that energy and get it out. Because when something stays inside you deep like that, it really does rob you of energy throughout the day. It takes energy to be angry. Tell us a little bit about that energy that it takes to be angry and why people need to let it go.
People need to let it go because the energy, when you start harboring a lot of that negative energy, it starts impacting your physical health. And what I mean by your physical health, I mean it impacts your heart. And that's when you see a lot of people, out there may be having a lot of high stress and high anger situations. You might see them have a stroke. You may see them have a heart attack. It attacks other parts of your body that may not have ever been affected. So it's very, very necessary to keep all your stress levels down, because where there's anger, here comes stress. And we don't need either one of those. So that's why it's very important to try not to harbor negative feelings and negative emotions. That's why it's important to let everything out. When something is bothering you or someone is bothering you, feel free enough to talk about it, because if you keep it inside, it will cause other issues, whether it cause severe migraines or anything, anything that can negatively impact, other areas of our body. Our body is our temple, so we have to do the best we can to keep our temple in shape. Please let it go. Don't hold any anger.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Tell us about the new book you've got coming out.
Oh, definitely. The book that I have coming out in the next couple months is called How to Maintain Good Mental Health. And what this book will contain, it will contain all of my tips that I have with maintaining good mental health. It will also contain information on how to be able to accept change, making choices, and maintaining control over all of life situations. So it will have information inside that where you can actually write inside the book like a journal piece, just so that you can keep tabs on every aspect of things that you're trying to do within your life to make that change and to maintain the good mental health. Because people think that mental health is always have to be negative, but you can have a positive mental health. It's just maintaining a happiness and a positive lifestyle. I currently have another book out called Me Before We, which is a 14-day challenge that pretty much it helps business owners, it helps everyone basically be able to choose yourself before working on doing other things, whether it's a relationship, whether it's starting a business, whether it's starting a job. It's just knowing how to create time and being able to address your life before incorporating everyone else's needs.
Cool. That's good. Well, Tyra, we gotta go, but I want to really give my great appreciation to you in talking about this. because we're in this climate where, there's always something that you can be mad about, but everything isn't worth being mad about, and that we have to get that out of our systems because, for our lives, anger can kill us if we don't deal with it. So do you have any last words for us before we go?
My last words that I have is I want everyone out there to please take your mental health just as serious as you take your physical health. And know that, there is help out there if you should need it in that aspect, and not to be afraid to ask for help. Because there's a lot of people out there who are advocates of mental health and physical health and want to make sure that everyone is living the best quality of life that they can live.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyra. We'll see you guys next time. If you like this show, I'd love to have your support. Visit patreon.com/kicking it with Doree, without the G, to learn more.